it seems like it's screaming at us, before it was set back. It just seems incongruous with what the whole rest of the project is. Thank you.
All right. And Commissioner Kronzer, is that a friendly recommendation,
okay.
or are you adding anything?
Upon encouragement, I would like to add a 15th condition that the applicant work with staff to revise the gray metal panel color and to reconsider the full glazings for a story fronting 28th Avenue South.
All right. So we have a motion to add a 15th condition related to the applicant working with staff on both the color of the metal panel and the 4th story glazing. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Bender.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you'll indulge me, could I just ask the project team to comment on the materials as outlined here in these conditions and make sure that we're not coming back in a couple of months with a redesign?
Absolutely. We have the elevations here. Let me see if I can walk through these straightly. Yes, thank you. Okay. So if we look at, if you wouldn't mind, could I start with number 3 and just note that in reviewing the requirements within, I believe it's 530, yes, 530, it does refer to residential uses, and so it doesn't become clear that as soon as you have a mixed-use building that your entire property would be required to follow the commercial 30%. It does allude to the fact that for residential uses, you would be allowed to follow the criteria here and have a 20%, and also be able to use clerestory as part of that opportunity for privacy. So walking through these windows, number 4 would be added to the 4th floor at the east elevation adjacent to the building at 3828 to break up the blank wall. Right here. Okay. Right in here. Okay. Correct? Oh, sorry, here. Yes. Number 5, a material change to break up all the blank walls in excess of 25 feet on the north and east elevation where they face Cupcake. So again, elevation I just pointed to. And here. Number 6, the fiber cement panel on the south elevation shall be, replaced with the fiber cement lap siding to reduce the number of primary materials. That would be this area. And again, our position to create the appearance of multiple buildings wrapping. Number 7, the fiber cement panel on the west elevation facing the alley shall be replaced with stucco to reduce the number of primary materials and make the rear of the building more compatible with the front. Sorry, these are hard to find. It's actually right here. Let's see, number 10, that was modified. Number 11, and the landscape yard at the east side of the alley, that would, 7 feet would increase that setback and push the parking over and remove some of our backup area, along with adjusting some of the bike parking. So that would increase this area to 7 feet and would push the bike parking and also remove part of this backup area. Did that answer any questions? Are there anything to point out on the site plan to clarify further?
Commissioner Bender.
Yes, of these, my question is mostly about number 4, which is the windows, is that that a difficult change to make for the project?
Commissioner Vreeland, did you have?
Yeah, and I was just hoping you could answer the question about 15.
About 15?
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that we can review. I mean, we obviously we'll take a look at that building. I mean, we don't want a building that has any appearance concerns any more than you do, because then there's a chance something's going to have to be adjusted to begin. So that addresses the metal panel. The elevation where additional windows were added, the idea of making more of a high-end, very open feel, that sort of visibility, the daylight, etc. That was one of the reasons for that change, to add additional glazing in that area.
And the colors in the metal panel, and I believe my colleagues are trying to ask you if that would be problematic and what you think of changing the color and the material.
As I am not the particular designer on the project, so it's something that I think we would just need to take a closer look with the whole material palette. I don't like making a quick judgment.
Well, we're about to take a vote. You should probably.
Well, and
I mean, our preference would be to proceed with the design that we have proposed. We're calling out a gray color. I think as long as that motion of working with staff, perhaps it's the note of the finish. The flat sometimes has a different appearance than some of the others. We haven't picked the exact color of gray yet, so I think, finding that gray tone that would be appropriate for the building is possible.
I think the way that condition is stated, we are giving staff some discretion there, so hopefully that won't create a big issue. Commissioner Kronzer.
And my comment was about the color of the material, not the material itself.
You're not a gray fan?
Go look at the lime.
I'll have to go look at it. There are other examples in the community of some really great uses of that gray and sort of that Scandinavian vibe.
Okay, Commissioner Bender.
And then this 20 versus 30% glazing, I don't even really know what that means, frankly.
Commissioners,
Mr. Whitberg.
I would recommend that the commission consider just granting alternative compliance because of the level of ambiguity that we have around that issue in this instance. And perhaps if the commission is in favor of that the first floor of the west elevation facing the parking lot shall provide 20% glazing, period.
And would someone like to move that revision to condition number 3? All right. We have a motion and a second, and that is to revise condition number 3 to read that the first floor on the south elevation and the first floor of the west elevation facing the parking lot shall provide 20% glazing, or at least 20% glazing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. I don't know if there's any further discussion, but Commissioner Kronzer?
Fourth condition wasn't fully answered.
I have a question. I think it's my question to the Planning Commission. Do you feel like voting for the fourth condition or not? Because if you feel like it, I think we should vote for it. And if you don't think it's needed, I think we should not vote for it. But I don't know why we're going back and forth with the applicant 20 times. I feel like if we feel compelled enough to make them enforce that, we should. And if we don't, then we shouldn't put the burden on them. Like, we shouldn't make it be so ambiguous in that regard. Like, either we want it or we don't.